I were Olive, I would have been like, no, not Jeremy. Like, but whatever. It's fine. I'm fine. But I was just like,
Hey everyone, welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Tilly.
I'm Nikki.
and I'm Kelly.
This week we've got a surprise, fun little BYOB shot episode about the contemporary romance novel The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, which was published just last month, September 2021. We were all obsessed with this book, so we decided we should record our thoughts about it for a bonus episode. Just a quick heads up that this book does contain sexually explicit scenes, and we're probably going to be talking about it.
We will be.
So, gird your loins. Literally. Here's the publishers.
Sorry, I was going to say, consider them girded.
Gross.
Yeah, okay. Well, that is just a little foreshadowing of what's to come. Here's the publisher's synopsis from Nikki.
As a third-year PhD candidate, Olive Smith doesn't believe in lasting romantic relationships, but her best friend does, and that's what got her into this situation. Convincing On that Olive is dating and well on her way to a happily ever after was always going to take more than hand-wavy Jedi mind tricks. Scientists require proof, so like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. That man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young hotshot, hot-ass professor, and well-known ass, which is why Olive is positively floored when Stanford's reigning lab tyrant agrees to keep her charade a secret and be her fake boyfriend. But when a big science conference goes haywire, putting Olive's career on the Bunsen burner, Adam surprises her again with his unyielding support and even more unyielding six-pack abs.
Hey!
Yes.
I love that ...
Yeah. Ali Hazelwood, you slime minx.
Suddenly, their little experiment feels dangerously close to combustion, and Olive discovers that the only thing more complicated than a hypothesis on love is putting her own heart under the microscope.
Aww. So many little science puns, so cute.
So good. Even that's good.
Oh, my face hurts from smiling already.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, I need a drink.
All right, Kelly, tell us what we're drinking.
Well, okay, so we had planned to record this all together in one room and not share, but drink the same drink together. However, COVID got in the way, but we were not going to let it ruin the night. So we are recording separately, and we all have different drinks. So I have something called an Island Thunder, which I was excited about. Now I am not. It's pineapple vodka and blue curacao liqueur, I guess. I don't like pineapple, so this will be interesting. And it's one of those like pre-packaged shots. So we'll see. Tilly has some peppermint schnapps that she's just gonna take a big old swig out of, and I love that for you.
It's all I had in my my little makeshift liquor cabinet.
Love it. And Nikki, what are you drinking?
So because I just moved and everything is all packed away, the only thing I have out is Grand Marnier. So
fancy.
Love it.
Fancy.
We'll see how great that tastes in a shot, because I don't think that's how it's supposed to be drank at all. So,
well, it's orange, right? Might be good.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's quite strong, though, I think. Okay, I'm opening it. This has a foil lid, so just bear with me for a sec. Oh my god. Okay. Oh god, I'm so bad at shots. This is gonna be so ridiculous. How do you drink this?
You gotta put your mouth over the divide.
Yeah, I was like, with the crack in the middle of your mouth.
I'm sorry I called you a gap-toothed bitch. It's not your fault you're so gap-toothed. Okay. I'm so glad this is not a video. Okay. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yep, just tastes like mouthwash.
Yum.
Except to swallow. Kelly, are you okay?
Oh my god.
You're not even done.
There's like a tiny bit left.
Drink
This
it,
is a
bitch.
big ass like opening for my mouth. Okay.
Oh my god. So we're going to move into giving our star ratings out of 5 with little explanations and reasoning for why we did that. So as you know, we just rate out of 5 because that's the convenient system that there exists for rating books. I don't find it's particularly efficient, but here we are. Kelly, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So, okay, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I read this book and just the prologue alone, I was smiling from ear to ear. I could not stop smiling. Just the writing style and the tone and the characters, they all won me over. Like, to me, this was such a lovely, beautiful debut novel. Like, I cannot believe this is a debut novel from Ali Hazelwood. Like, I was just completely taken along for this ride. I'm 100% obsessed with it. I love these characters. I love Olive. I love Adam. Oh my god, Adam. We'll get to him. But besides the romance between the two of them, I loved all the humor. I loved that she was in STEM and I didn't have to be in STEM to understand and love her and follow what was happening. Yeah, I loved it. And I like steamy reads. This one was not very steamy. However, there is one chapter that is all steam and my jaw was dropped the whole time. I was just like, wow, this is incredible.
It was too good.
Yes, I think this book is a perfect mix of heartwarming, funny, silly, and then a little bit of steam, and just a fun ride. So 5 out of 5. I think everyone should read this, honestly. Loved it.
Great.
Yes.
Nikki, what'd you think?
Well, I think this is like probably going to be a little redundant because we're obviously doing this episode because we all really love the book. I also gave it a 5 out of 5. No surprise. I'm basically gonna just say same as what Kelly said because it was so good. I'm not a huge romance reader. I'm very picky about what I will read because I'm really not interested in reading something just for like the romantic aspect. The plot has to be really good and the writing has to be good or else I can't sit through it. And from the first page, I was like, yes, this book is it. I'm in it to win it. And I read the whole thing in probably like the span of 24 hours. I finished it at 5 o'clock in the morning because I could not put it down. And I was so upset when it was over that I almost started it again immediately after I finished. It was just a culmination of everything that I could have, like, it was basically, if I thought of like what a perfect romance would be for me, that was it. But I would have liked maybe another steamy scene tacked on the end just for posterity.
So I also really love this book. I was the first to read it out of all of us, actually, and I had pre-ordered it and I was so excited to read it. I also read it in about a day and then immediately texted Kelly and Nikki about how they would also love it and prompted this whole, like reading train, which I'm so pleased about. I think I ended up giving it like a 4.5 in my head. I really, really loved it. I thought the slow burn romance was awesome. I really liked that there wasn't a lot of sexy scenes because it can sometimes be like overkill. And I felt that this one like really sexy chapter was like really well deserved and built up really well. I think the reason I took off like half a point or whatever was it was just like a little bit too real for me sometimes. I also was briefly in STEM in university. I started out my undergrad doing a concurrent Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts, and I was majoring in chemistry, and there were a lot of those, like I obviously didn't make it to like postgrad or doctoral or anything like that, but there was a lot of situations that I found like too familiar and not in a pleasant way. So I kind of ended up taking a little bit off, and it was also just... there are some things that happen in the book that we're going to talk about later on that weren't like happy, comforting. And that's okay, but it made me like, it kind of like stressed me out a little bit. So I still really love the book, but I was just, those parts of it were like, oh, gut punch. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. I loved it though. And I'm completely in love with Adam. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. I think we all read this book in 24 hours. Like, it was just, you cannot put it down. And Tilly, tell everyone what you told us before we hit record.
Yeah, so I read this book the day it came out because I had it pre-ordered, and so the copy arrived on my doorstep, and I said, I will drop everything and read this in a day, which is what I did. And that was about, I think, like 24 days ago now, and I was thinking, and I wasn't reading it at the time with the intention to record an episode, so I wasn't being as, like, careful with thinking about, like, notes I wanted to talk about, or, you know, like, themes I wanted to explore. I was just kind of, like, reading it for the enjoyment of it. So then when Kelly suggested doing a podcast episode, I thought, oh, great, but then I was like, shoot, I wish I'd kind of read it more carefully. So I thought, I'll just reread it. And then I forgot that I was going to do that. And then today, before our recording, I was like, oh yeah, I could at least read like a few chapters. And I read, I'd say about 2/3 of the book, up until 10 minutes before I was supposed to plug in and record. And I said, okay, I'll just finish this last chapter. And the chapter ended. And wouldn't you know it, it's a chapter before the sexy chapter. So I was like, gotta close the book, can't read any further, I gotta go record this thing. You can do it for the podcast, Tilly.
You're so
I'm basically a hero. Thank you. Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I know.
I wouldn't have even read the first part. I would have just went right to that part and been like, great, research done.
To be fair, I was trying to remember some of the names of the characters. That's what
okay.
I was remembering the plot pretty well, but the names, I was like, what was her like roommate's name? I can't remember. So I wanted to go back and kind of like make sure I didn't sound like I didn't know what I was talking about for this episode. So here we are. I just got sucked into the whole thing again, and I loved it.
Oh my god, I want to reread it. I need my own copy. I am so obsessed with this book. I wish there was more. And like, I feel bad because like, I don't know what the next book is. Love on the Brain. I don't know who it's about, what it's about. I will read it. Don't get me wrong. I am so ready to read that. But I'm also like, can we just stay with Olive and Adam, please?
I know.
I know. I think for some reason authors don't think that we want to read about like their domestic life, but I do. I want to read about them being like, together and being married and living in a cottage and doing their stem cell research or whatever. I don't care. I want that.
This is the generation that grew up on fan fiction. All we want to do is read about their domestic life. Okay, that's all Sunday fan fiction was, and that's all I need. I want like boring shit. But I just wanted to about
I want them waking up late, making omelets together, and then like getting caught up kissing and not being able to like make it to their class that they're co-teaching or whatever. Like that's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Oh my god.
Maybe we should just wait a minute. Should we just write it?
Okay, but wait a sec. I was gonna say the author posted on Instagram a few days ago that her friend had sent her a link to a fanfic of her book. So she's like, oh my god, my dream has come true. Someone has taken my characters and written a fanfic. And I'm like, oh my god, I love this.
Yes, I love it too. And also, can you just forward us the link? How about?
Yes. Oh my god.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Follow-up shot episode where we then review the fan fiction of The Love Hypothesis.
I'm sure it would be great.
Oh my god, I just loved every moment of this book. Like, it was just so much fun. Like, and yes, there were a couple moments where things got a little serious, but I just loved being in Olive's head. And I have to say, I loved the fact that this was a single perspective book and it was not a dual perspective, because
true.
Yeah, I do enjoy reading romances or books in general that have multiple perspectives or points of views. But for romance, sometimes I think it's too much to have both people, because I want the mystery. I don't want to know every single thing that Adam's thinking about, or, you know, if it was his story, I don't want to know everything that Olive is thinking about. I want to feel like, oh my god, does she like him? What does that look mean? What did this mean? You know, all that stuff. And like, while I gotta say, I knew from day one they were going to end up together. It wasn't like a mystery that he loved her in my mind when I was reading the book. But that's fine, because that's what I had signed up for. But I'm so glad I didn't get all of his chapters of like, oh, I saw her at Starbucks. She's drinking those stupid pumpkin spices, but I love her anyway. Like, okay, that's great. But also, I don't want to know everything because I want to feel like, who is he? Why is he so grumpy? Oh my God, right? Like, I want to think
That would have really
that.
ruined the book. Honestly,
Yes.
having that second perspective would have just like made this book a total miss.
Well, and it makes it more realistic to
Yeah.
the single perspective, right? Because I've definitely been Olive in my lab coat, pining after the weird dark-haired grumpy man in my lab and not knowing what he's thinking. And that's relatable, and it makes me want to read more because I'm like, I've been that girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so since this is a mini episode, we're going to be launching right into spoilers and all of our feelings about this book. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to know how it all turns out, you should probably stop listening now. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, you feel free to leave us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice. We'd really appreciate it. So if you don't want any spoilers, you should leave now.
Right now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Why haven't you read the book already? Please go read it.
I think it's like sold out in a lot of places, but yeah, you're
No
right. You're right. Read it.
excuses.
Yeah, Kelly couldn't even get it.
Oh my God, burn. Ow, fucking ow. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Why are you like this? What do you want from me?
What do you My
want
cat
from
is
me?
crying outside now. I don't care. I'm busy.
It's like you
Mom's
have another
busy.
human out there.
Yeah, go see your dad. God. Anyway.
God, leave mom alone.
Mommy's busy.
Yeah, just want to drink my wine and talk about my books and my
Having
friends.
her special
My
juice.
smut. Yeah. Okay. Let's start, I think, with the friendships, okay?
All right, go for it.
Sorry.
No, take charge. I love it.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, I can't deal with Theo, my cat, right now. I just got to get to the good stuff, okay? So let's not start at the chapter because I want to spend some time there, but let's earn it, okay? Just like the book earned it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just like the book did.
Yes, and boy, did it ever, okay? So let's start with the characters because I friggin' loved the friendships in this book. At first, I was a little
Yeah.
worried that her roommate...
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Yeah, I was like, wait a sec. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Malcolm. Okay. At first, I was pretty worried about Malcolm, Olive's roommate, because I didn't know if he was going to be a fleshed out enough character for me or if he was just going to be like a throwaway friend to offer advice once in a while.
Right.
But then he started having more and like having some humor and relationships and family dynamics. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy because he was a lot of fun and I wanted to spend more time with him. Like I had a blast. And when he got together with Holden, which I was like, of course this is going to happen because hello. But yeah, when that happened, I was so happy and I was like, I want to go on that dinner date with you. Like, I think that'd be so much fun.
Oh, yeah. That part for me, like him getting together with Holden, I was a little like, well, that's like a little, but I really liked Holden. So I was like, that's fine. Whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah.
It did feel a bit like Pair the Spares.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the only other two characters who have names who aren't in relationships.
Yes. That's why I was like, oh, I knew they'd get together, but I wasn't
Yeah.
mad because I was like, I like them both. Sure.
Yeah, it was cute. I definitely felt they were like a real couple. I know what you mean too. I was also worried a bit about Malcolm because I was like, do I know anything about him?
Yeah.
And I think he was the only character who I couldn't find his last name. Maybe they mention it way later in the book where I haven't gotten to rereading it yet. But I don't think he had a last name, or at least not one that I could find. So
I'm trying to
I don't
think, 'cause
remember.
I know they talk about his parents a lot.
yeah,
at
because
some
they were also
points.
biologists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I really love how Malcolm called Olive his Kalamata.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was so
I
cute.
know. I hate
know,
olives,
and
but I love that.
But I also really liked the friendships in the book, and I found it really helped enrich the story, where I was like invested in the people outside of the central couple as well. Like you were saying, Kelly, they weren't just kind of there to provide advice every once in a while. They also had their own issues that were going on, and I felt like I understood everyone's reasoning for their behavior all the time,
Yeah.
which was very great, and I don't often see in romance novels. Like sometimes people behave in ways and I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But in this book, everything made total sense. Even the like fake dating, they both had pretty good reasons for fake dating. it wasn't just like, oh, I don't know, sure, I'll date you, no reason. Like in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why is he dating her? No reason, except for the plot, I guess.
Yeah, like,
No,
okay,
because he
sure,
wants to
I'm
get back
free.
at Genevieve.
Oh, that's right.
That's why.
But it didn't feel as like, the stakes weren't as high. I guess because they were
Because
younger
it's a YA
too. But
novel.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
So this
I
one
agree.
like really made sense. I felt all the choices were strong, even near the end when they like were kind of not sure. They like couldn't tell each other how they felt about each other, but I understood why. Like I was very much like I was rooting for both of them, but I also understood where they were coming from. And I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't just like, oh my God, spit it out.
I think I was a little bit, but I'm really a kind of person, like, I don't hold my feelings back at all. If I really care about someone, or vice versa, maybe, I have a really hard time not making it known. So there were certain things, but I feel like they kind of addressed them in the book, like in the little hypothesis parts at the beginning of each episode. Like, what do I do if I dig myself a hole super deep? I lie some more, like that kind of thing, where she acknowledges the fact that she's just lying, even though she doesn't have to. Because that's one thing with romance novels that really bothers me, is I'm like, okay, just slap another lie on there that's like super dumb and that you don't need to tell because you're just convoluting the story, which I think was kind of happening a little, but the way it was written and the having those little snippets at the beginning of the chapters allows you to forgive those things a lot more.
Right. And the fact too that she was like so overtired all the time.
Honestly.
She was like just sleep deprived. So I was like, okay, Olive, I get it. Been there.
I loved all the hypotheses at the beginning of the chapters because, like, at first I didn't realize that they were telling you what was going to happen. I just thought it was like some little cute thing. And then I was like, oh my God, I love this. You know, I'm like, what am I going to get into? I'm so excited. Little like sneak peeks, you know? But when she lied, like when Adam overheard her say that she loved someone or that she was in love, I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's going to be great. And then when she lied to him and said, no, I'm in love with somebody else, I was like, no.
And he wasn't even surprised. That was the most heartbreaking part. He was just like, yeah, of course you weren't talking about me. Yeah. Like, how could that possibly be?
He's like, clearly you still have something for Jeremy. And I'm like, no. And if I were Olive, I would have been like, no, not Jeremy. Like, you know, but whatever. It's fine. I'm fine. But I was just like, first of all, like, I'm sorry, Adam, if you're supposed to be Adam, the man we have grown to know and love so deeply, how could anyone look at Jeremy? Okay, Adam is perfect.
Okay, well, Jeremy was also nice, but he was just not for Olive.
No.
I feel like the book for me made Jeremy such an unappealing person that I was like, why are you dating him? He sounds disgusting. Like, that was basically how I felt about Jeremy.
We've all had a friend like that where we're like, why are you dating this person? Like, you know, I feel like that's on.
I thought she was awesome. Was she not awesome?
I did not like her very much.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, I think it started with the fact that she said, I really like Jeremy. And Olive said, that's great, go date him. And she just didn't believe her. And I'm like, why don't you just listen to your friend? She said it's fine. How many times does she have to say it's fine before you just listen to her?
I don't know if they ever had that conversation, though. I think it was that Olive overheard on talking to Malcolm about, like, yeah, I really like him, and I don't know if I should do it because I won't, you know, like, Olive doesn't date people a lot, so I don't want to, like, go for it.
Oh, I thought they did, though. I thought after she heard that, she was like, I'm already dating someone else. It's fine. That's what I
she's
thought,
like,
but
it's
maybe
okay
not.
because I'm already, like, seeing someone, or I'm on a date, or I'm going on a date or something like that. And that's why she kisses
on a date.
Oh, maybe.
her.
Right, so this all
kisses
happened,
she kisses
like-
Adam in the hall because An sees them. And she's like, I'm supposed to be on a date in the science department.
And the cover, that's the cover. I love that. It's how it all starts. Well, not really how it all starts. Can we please talk about the prologue?
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about how On was great,
Okay,
but
sorry.
that's okay.
Go back.
That's okay.
Go back.
No, it's okay. We can go to the prologue. I feel like I don't know if I have like a fully formed thought.
Well, I will say something about On. I liked her, but not as much as I liked Malcolm, and I think that's just because I feel like we had more screen time, if you will, with Malcolm, because On was so busy being the head bitch in charge, you know what I mean? Like, she was running all these committees, she was in all these groups, like, trying to get things going for women in STEM, which I was like, this is really awesome. And then she would just kind of help Olive get into these zany situations with Adam, which I was all for, like the sunscreen and, first of all, the kiss.
Yeah. I think that's another reason why I wasn't super crazy about On, is because she felt like Malcolm was a fully formed character, but she was then only there to propel the story forward. Like, you didn't actually get anything from her other than peer pressure and her just being like, oh yeah, like me and Jeremy. And I'm like, yeah, we get it. You're with Jeremy. That's the whole reason that this book is happening. But I felt like I didn't actually get to like learn anything about her personality other than she has a lot of clubs for women in science, which is great. But with Malcolm, you learn so much more about him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was with On, it was a lot of like, we were told a lot of stuff about her, but we weren't shown a lot of stuff about her. And I think I was just taken in with what I was being told because I was like so into it. I actually want to read a little bit that was about Olive and On's dynamic. I just really liked the way they talked to each other. I felt it was like very true friendship, relatability. And so this is I don't know what this was. I think it was when On was first confronting Olive about like, Olive, Dr. Carlson, are you serious? Like, that's who you kissed in the hallway at 11 p.m.? What are you thinking? And Olive was like, I don't know, we were on a date. And so the quote is, On gave her one of her formidable no bullshit looks. It was probably the one she used as president of the Student Senate, as head of the Stanford Women in Science Association, as director of outreach for the Organization of BIPOC Scientists. There was no fight On couldn't win. She was fearsome and indomitable, and Olive loved this about her, but not right now. Which I thought was so cute because and I think Olive talks so much at the beginning of the book about how On is like her person and how she never had such a strong friendship.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of stuff that happens between them before the action of the story gets started, which I think is what you're talking about, Nikki. So I agree. Like, we don't really get to see her kind of progress, but maybe we'll get another book about On.
Maybe.
That'd be great.
Hopefully not with Jeremy, because
I'm
not interested.
Yeah, Jeremy seems blah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems so vanilla. Like, I don't care. Maybe you're great, but I don't care, right? Like, anyone? That song? No? Okay. But, that's okay. So, going back to the beginning, the very beginning,
yes.
I friggin' loved the prologue. What a good setup for the book.
Yeah.
I was just smiling from ear to ear the whole time, and I'm pretty sure I messaged both of you and my sister, and because I told my sister, like, you need to read this book. I only read the prologue. You need to read this book. And she was like, it's actually my next in line. And I was like, oh my God. And then she became obsessed with it. But this prologue, I just thought was so cute and clever and just so perfect.
So we should
rom-com.
set the scene a bit for the listeners.
So let me tell you, Olive. I was like, what's her name? I was just
yes, I will do it right now.
Lost in my feelings. Olive is crying in a bathroom at the university, and this guy comes in and he's like, why are you in my bathroom? And she's like, what do you mean your bathroom? And they start going back and forth, and she's in a lab, and we find out that she's crying because she's wearing years expired contact lenses. And he's like, why are you doing this? And she's like, normally it's not that bad. And he's like, what do you mean normally? And so they just have this like really, really fun, bizarre meet cute. And she starts like talking to him about her feelings and how she's feeling stressed about becoming a potential doctorate student, doctoral candidate, whatever. I didn't finish that.
PhD student, I think.
I'm an actor, so I don't know. But I just thought it was so cute. And she can't see the man fully because of her contact lenses. So she just keeps talking about his deep voice and how tall he was and how dark and mysterious he was. And so
But she thought he was a student.
Yes. And so she's
assumed.
like, she thinks he's a student, but just slightly ahead of her. And then we find out later that it's Adam. And he was actually already a prof, I think, at that point.
Well, he says,
Yeah, he's like 9 years older
what
than her.
year, what year are you? And he goes, I've been here for 6 years. And she's like thinking in her head, oh, well, maybe he'll be here next year. Like sometimes it takes people a really long time to finish their doctorate and stuff. And then the real story starts 2 years after that. So
Yes.
she's done a whole semester or a whole year in this program. And she's now I'm assuming in her second year of her PhD studies.
She's her third year.
Yeah.
It's 2 years and 11 months later.
And I
Okay.
think he helped her get in.
But I
right?
didn't
'Cause he
know
on
if
the
it was
board.
if it was her second year because she would have been interviewing before she was done her year. Anyway, semantics. But
Yeah.
who cares? She's been there for a while. And she has no idea that it's the same guy. And I was like, how do you not know?
The voice.
But then it's like, how do you know? How do I
Right, because it's obvious to us because these are the only two characters we know so far. But then when you think about all the people you run into at a university over the course of 2 years,
Adam.
well, she couldn't see him.
his
That's true. She could hear
bathroom.
him. Yeah.
She didn't touch him. She would have known the memory of touch. Am I right, ladies?
But the sound of his voice and her
I know.
voice. We're just going to sing all the songs.
Yep.
But she'd never talked to him before, I don't think, after that moment. She'd never run into him. And then she grabbed his face and kissed him because An was walking by. She was like, gotta convince her that I'm with someone so that she can date my lame ex-boyfriend, I guess. I'll just grab this guy. And it's, oof.
Because she knew
Love
who
it.
he was, but she didn't have to deal with him. So she just
Right,
knew his
'cause he was in a different
reputation.
department.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in computational biology and she was in organics, I think.
Oh.
With a focus on oncology. Yeah.
My God. This guy.
Did you guys think about Adam Driver?
Yes.
The whole time.
I
Yeah.
didn't. I don't think Adam Driver is particularly attractive.
Oh my God.
More for us.
Oh my God.
But I was picturing, I had a conversation with Kelly about this at some point
did?
before we're recording this episode about how people in our generation think cartoons are very attractive for some reason.
Mhm.
And
Lay it on us. Who was it?
well, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the anime Ouran High School Host Club, but basically it's just a bunch of guys who are in this host club and women girls from the school go and hang out with them and they woo them and have tea with them and they're all they're all very charming and have different characteristics. And so I was picturing this mashup between one of the guys, Kyoya, and one of the other guys, Takashi, which if you guys look, you'll see what I mean. They're both tall, dark hair, very stoic and the typical anime situation. Anyway, so that's what I was picturing because when I see Adam Driver, I'm like, oh, you're just a cute little beanie. But I'm not "Mm."
Wow. I don't think you're a cute little beanie when I see Adam Driver.
No, I remember seeing which was the Star Wars where he holds
Oh.
Rey, and I remember being in the theater watching it and being like, I will murder this woman so that I can be the person that he's holding in his arms.
Wow. Okay.
I know, but it's something about it's not even so much his features, it's an
just-
aura.
Yes.
It's the physicality and
Yes.
the grumpiness, but the softness underneath. Oh, it's amazing.
He gives off this. Now we're going on an Adam Driver tangent. I don't care. Okay, it's related.
Well, Ali Hazelwood was fully inspired by Raylo fan fiction. That she's talked about it in interviews.
Okay. I didn't
Like, they're
even know
supposed to
the
look like
characters
that.
on the front of the book look exactly like Adam Driver
Yeah.
and Daisy
Ridley.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a rumor or if that was an actual thing. Okay, interesting. I don't know how I'd feel about having a book that was inspired by me. You know what I mean? That'd be so bizarre to be Adam Driver right now. But I mean, I could also help him feel not so weird about it. I could be like, no, it's fine. It's a great book.
It
But-
also shows that books that are inspired by stuff like that can be very good.
Yeah.
Because,
And different.
I mean,
Stephanie Meyer. Myers? Whatever. I don't know you.
well, I mean, hers was like an original thought
Was it?
in a bad book.
Yeah.
And then E.L. James was like a worse book based on a bad book.
I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
And I mean, then there's like after we collide or after we
Just after.
bump into each other, whatever the title of the books are. But like all those are like based on
Yeah.
Harry Styles, maybe? I don't know. Something like that.
I think so. Yeah. Which I'm like, what? That has nothing to do with One Direction. Like,
So,
Okay.
And to be
it
fair, I
shows
don't know
that
if
it
it's
does-
so
it can
much-
be done well.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if this book was so much based on Adam Driver as it was based on like the feeling that you get when you powerfully ship a fictional couple like this couple. Do you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was like she was part of the like Raylo shipping fandom and then was like, that's my thing.
Yeah.
So
I
Oh
really
my
thought
God.
that they were going to be brother and sister. I thought it was going to be like a
Yeah.
In the Star Wars
repeat.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I had thought about that, but I was like, they're clearly trying to set up some sexual tension here. And then suddenly it was like, woof, like a lot of
That's
sexual
why
tension.
I was like really weirded out. I was like, they're siblings. That's fucked.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
did this
I'm like-
already. It doesn't work.
I don't know if
Yeah, like get a new
people-
story, George.
He's not writing it anymore.
I know. He owns
Clearly.
it though. Well, I guess Disney does now. I don't know.
Yeah, all these other people. But anyways, I don't want to get into Star
We're
Wars.
really off track here.
because
Yeah.
In case people haven't watched it, I mean, I'm sure everyone has, but who knows, right? But I'm just saying Adam Driver can get it, and he probably does. So good for him. But this book,
He's just so tense all the time.
Oh
and I'm
my
like, what if
God.
he wasn't tense? You know?
I feel like he's like a very like I want to say like deep person, but just like
Yeah.
very serious like about his craft, which I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn, I'm into that, but not if you're pretentious about it, because we all know those people. Not gonna name names, but you know what I mean. Not into it.
It's the intensity, I think, too. And the
Yes.
like, if you talk to him, you would know that he was like listening
Yeah.
fully at all times,
my
which is what
God.
was Adam in this book too. He like
Yes.
always remembered everything Olive ever said, which I was
Yes.
like, oh my God, that's so attractive.
Yes, Nikki and I had almost a parallel dream about someone we know in real life. We told you about.
Oh.
We will not name the
Yeah.
person on air. On air.
Oh my God.
But and we don't even have a thing for this person in real life. So it was such a bizarre dream. But we were talking about it and I was like, I think it's because this person is so attentive and like they seem we get this vibe from the person that they just really actually care about what we're saying and respect us as people, which is so like shouldn't everyone that you are
Yeah, it's a low
friends
bar,
with?
but-
Yeah, right? But they're just so attentive that I think that that's why we had this dream. And I think that's why we're all about Adam Driver. Like one of the reasons, because it's like, you are so focused. And that's how Adam in this book was. It was like, he is zoning in. He is listening. He has a thing for Olive from day one. You could tell. He's just like, who is this weird girl crying in my bathroom? Let me get to know her.
I know. And he never calls her weird either. He
No.
always, like, the words he uses about her are, like, extraordinary and, like, incredible. Like, I just wish you knew how I saw you. He never, like, puts her down or anything. I think he calls her, like, smart ass as, like, a joke.
I love
But it's
that.
always...
Yeah, I, thought
I did
that
too.
was
And
super
I...
cute. I was like,
so cute.
playful
And very
baby.
I also really
realistic.
loved...
I think.
Oh my God, we all have so many things to say. We're like, oh my God. I love it.
I thought him calling her smartass was really realistic because I think in real life we like to tease people we like, you know? We're not always
Yeah.
saying like, oh, thanks a lot, babe, or thanks, handsome. It's like, oh, okay, thanks, you tool or you bum or whatever. You know, like sometimes you say like silly things like that, you know? So I like it.
Yeah, I think I was reading a historical romance the other day, and the main character kept calling the love interest Angel. He was like, "Oh, Angel, like if you only knew," or something like that. And I'm like, that was cute, like once, but no one's ever called me that, and I don't want it, so I don't like it.
No. I dated a guy very briefly, very, very briefly in high school who called me sweet cheeks once. And I was like, don't you ever call me that again. That's disgusting. I don't know
That's
who told you
ew,
to do
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like, I would
Gauge.
want to, like, punch them in the face.
Yeah.
If someone called me that, I'd be like, just instinctually, like, I need to hit you for that.
Yeah. He was a very nice guy. And that's why I was so taken aback. I was like, what? What? Why would you call me that? I'm so at a loss. And who told
Maybe
you to do
he
that?
was trying to
They're
be
wrong.
cool. Maybe he was like, I'm nervous. I need to.
Sweet cheeks.
Maybe he's watching a
It's
lot
like
of American
baby
Graffiti
cakes or something. Ugh.
I don't know, but
Gross.
Gage, you were better than that. I hope you're doing well, but that was awful. So
I don't think he's better than that.
he was really nice, I can say. It was one of those breakups where you're like, we should be friends. Great. Goodbye. Anyways.
Good to know.
Poor Gage. I wanted to talk a bit about how the hangups that Olive had about relationships were different than the ones I usually see in romance novels. So I find, there's always got to be like the one thing that's like, this is why I don't believe that love is for me. And most of the time in romance novels for the female characters, it's like, I just don't believe that love is for me because my heart was broken by this guy I really cared about long time ago. And that wasn't this for Olive. Her mother died when she was in high school, and her father had never been in the picture, and she didn't have any family, and so she was alone. She was in foster care for a year, I think, and then she was emancipated and just spent a lot of her time being alone and truly just not understanding her effect on other people or like how other people could perceive her. And through that loneliness, I think, just comes this sense of like, I just don't know what I'm worth, and I don't know if anyone could love me. And it was so sad to read about, but it was such a believable thing that someone could feel. Right? It wasn't just the cliche of like, my ex-boyfriend Julian was an asshole and now I don't know how to give my heart away again. And this was just a lot more, this was a lot deeper, I felt, and it was a lot more touching. Yeah. And it made it so much more special because what she loved about Adam was that it was just this feeling that she got around him was that he didn't make her feel alone. Yeah. And that's something that can't be like quantified. It's just like the feeling, and that's how you know.
Yeah. You put it, though, a lot better than it was put in the book, because that sounds very deep, but I believe she does say at one point, she's like, everyone that I ever loved is gone.
Left me.
So now if I'm dating someone, they're going to leave me too. And that to me was kind of like the stereotypical like romance thing where I was like, yeah, okay, like let's move on from the little pity party here and get on to the love. but just because the way that it was presented was in this like stereotypical way, like when you say it the way that you said it, Tilly, it's like, oh, that's like very nice and it is very deep and touching, but it doesn't really get down to that. It's just like everyone I ever loved has left me alone. So I'll be alone forever. I was like, okay.
And Adam had a similar situation too, right? Because he grew up with diplomatic dignitary parents, so he was left alone a lot and had like nannies and stuff like that. But he just like threw himself into his work, just like Olive does. And I feel like if you're in that field of work, you kind of have to do that, otherwise you're not going to get ahead, which sucks. But I mean, it's an important job that they have. So yeah, I think they're able to connect on a deeper level because they both share that sort of feeling. Hopefully it works out for them. I mean, I hope it does. We don't know because we don't have another book. But
yeah, and maybe it's possible that I'm reading a little bit too much into it because I feel like very connected to the story right now.
Right. You're in it to win it right now.
Yes.
I'm in it to win it right now. I'm going to finish it tonight again, 24 days later. Maybe I'll just read it every 24 days. It'll be my new thing. Probably not, though.
I want to talk about Tom.
Ugh, I don't want to.
Tom.
Fuck Tom. Fuck every guy in the world like Tom. Yeah. Because there are so many.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom, when we first met Tom in the book, I was like, I don't trust this guy. He's giving me some weird-ass, shady vibes here.
And Holden didn't trust him either, right? Yes. Holden kept saying, I just didn't like him.
Yes, and Holden seemed like a very nice, friendly guy, So I was like, why doesn't he like him? And I think Adam kind of brushed it off like, oh, whatever, he's just jealous of him or something. I'm like, why would he be jealous of him? Like, why? typical guy answer. Oh, I don't know. He's just jealous. No, he's not. Okay. He's not. So when we met Tom, I knew he was a piece of shit. And then when it happened, my jaw dropped. Yeah, my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped on the floor. I was like, this piece of shit. And it was just like an ace of spades. He was like, because I can. I'm like, oh my God.
So we got to tell the listeners what happened.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you want to tell them?
No, you can go. You can do it.
Okay. So just for our listeners who may not have read the book,
Pick it up now.
basically what happens. Yeah, pick it up now, first of all. Then second of all, listen to us. So Olive has just given her first talk at a scientific conference. She was very nervous. She's not a good public speaker, but she thought it went all right. And Tom was another panelist on the panel, I guess. And he kind of talked to her afterwards and cornered her a little bit. And she suddenly realized they were alone in a hallway. He made some physical advances on her and she was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm dating Adam. Like, what the fuck? And he was very, very disgusting towards her. He said, this is what you expected, right? I mean, this is what you do. Like, you fucked Adam, so you're gonna fuck me too. And just made all these assumptions about her because she was one of the few women in her field, and just assumed that she was sleeping her way to the top. And that he could get whatever he wanted from her because he was in a position of authority over her, which is disgusting and happens far too often.
Yep.
And luckily we kind of knew, the reader knows all along, that she's got it on recording, this whole conversation. So thank God, because that was like, I was so anxious reading that, and it felt so like claustrophobic and disgusting.
Yeah.
And then knowing that
I don't think we knew while it was happening, but after
we
there's
didn't
a
know.
Scene that she's like, oh,
my phone was recording the whole time.
And I'm just like, how would you not connect that would be on the recording? That was the only part of the story that I was like blatantly like, okay, this is a little too unrealistic for what was going on. But
I think in that kind of situation though, like you're
so in shock.
Yeah, that you can look back, like she could have looked back if she hadn't then had all this other stuff go on with Adam and everything, because she could have looked back and then been like, oh, I recorded it before she just heard it accidentally, and then she was like, oh my God, I have it, and her friends were there and heard it, so that's why they kept it, to show Adam and everybody else, like the proof. But I know, like, I mean, if you look back on things, everything is much clearer, right, than when you're in it, because you're just so shocked, right? But I, like, as a reader, I was like, thank God it was recording,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get that. I guess just because she stopped it right after that conversation, pretty much, I was just like, okay,
yeah.
like.
Or maybe she didn't know if it picked it up. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just think it's a little.
You had to suspend your disbelief too much.
Yeah, it was just a little too like, okay, that's not super realistic. I think even if you were like upset, you'd still be like,
yeah,
got the goods.
But I also want to know something else that's unrealistic. Having a freaking jacked dude in a PhD science department. I have not seen this man. Okay,
right?
I'm sorry. I want to see him.
Having been in science departments, there were some buff guys. I mean,
let's see.
Sometimes when you're intense in your studies, you have to be intense in other areas of your life. And sometimes it comes out in, like martial arts or in workouting as you do.
That was just me trying to bring some levity. I'm sure they exist.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to see.
If you
no, I didn't expect it, but
I have very specific workouts I do, and none of them really add much to my life. So, like walking the dog.
So cryptic.
No,
Oh, okay.
like nothing that intense. Where I'm just like stuff to keep me sane and somewhat mobile. That's what I do. Kate, could you stop?
I'm just nodding.
We haven't even gotten to that part yet. Okay.
Can we get to that part now? Because we've been.
I
recording
definitely
for an
haven't
hour.
gotten to that part. Do you have anything to say about it?
Yes.
Please take it away.
Go, Nikki. I thought you were going to segue into it.
It was hot. It was great. I was in a hotel room when I read that scene.
Like they are.
But not romantic because I was sharing a hotel room with my mother. So, so she's like, picture it. 4 a.m. There's a woman snoring beside me obscenely loud. There's a tiny reading lamp on, and I'm furiously reading this chapter and sweating because I'm like, it's so intense. And I just want to like scream and throw the book and like yell and run around the room. And I'm trying to be really quiet. And I like lost my shit at like the things that Adam was saying. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, he had a way with words.
He had a way with a lot of things. I can imagine.
Shook.
My situation was much different than yours. I'm so sorry to say. I was alone when I read it because my husband left to go get groceries. And I was like, wow, what like the perfect timing? Because I was just like, again, my jaw dropped for the whole chapter. And I was just like, like just fully in gleeful awe. So I didn't have to worry about a snoring lady beside me. I was just like, oh my God.
Now, if I would have been in a hotel room with my partner, then that would have been way different because I would have been like, could you, do you want to do some like role playing? Like, you want to read this really quick?
Oh my.
Yeah, I feel like all partners should read this chapter. Just be like, no explanation. Just, hey, could you read this for me? To yourself? Just, no. I just want to know what you think about it. Okay, great.
No questions.
No discussion. Just go ahead.
Agreed.
It was incredible. Incredible. And I mean, I love steam. I loved all the build up to the steam. Mm-hmm. And I loved the like switch Adam had almost where it was like, you could tell it was going to be a good scene, but it was just like, he was so in control and just no tiptoeing around. He was just like, no, this is what I want. We're gonna make it happen. Do you want it to happen? Great, let's go. Like and I loved that it was super like very clearly consensual, and it was still so friggin' hot. It was not like, is this okay? It was like, are you still good with this? I just want to make sure. Great, like it was just like just so well done. And yeah, some of my favorite lines are from that chapter because I was like, wow, revolutionary.
Do they go to get condoms? Is that a thing? Or do they have them? No. Or do they just not use them?
They don't use them because she says, I'm on birth control and I'm clean.
Right. Yeah, and she's
then
like, I don't
it just
care.
never comes up again.
Yeah. Because he was like, are you sure? Because I can go. And she's like, nope, don't care. I'm good.
There's like, that's definitely one thing in books where I really don't mind if they don't talk about that part at all, because I'm like in the mood, like I'm in the moment. I want to know what's going to happen next. And I understand like representing like safe sex and stuff like that. But also we're all adults here and we know what birth control is and all the different forms of it. So I really don't need like a cut scene to like, and then he goes to the dresser and he gets it and he rips the foil and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care.
No. Don't use the one from your wallet. Friction might have made a hole in it. Let's get a fresh one.
Yeah.
A PSA. Did you check the expiration date? They expire? Why, yes, they do.
Yeah, so I don't need any of that. And I find a lot of newer books have stuff like that now because it's such a, well, I mean,
it's an educational. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, I don't think this is the audience you need to be educating about those kinds of things. Now, if it was like a YA novel that was like, had some like sexy stuff in it, sure, throw in, please wear a condom, idiots. Like, throw that in there. We all know the younger generation needs help with that. But
Hands up if you would read a YA book written by Nikki that just says, use a condom, you idiots, partway through a sex scene.
It would be rewritten.
Everyone?
Like a footnote.
Yeah, he'd be like, I'm clean. And she's like, I'm on birth control. And then she'd be like, actually, no, let's go get some. That's how it would be rewritten. Like, please.
What I loved about this chapter, too, is that it was very, very sexy, very hot, all that. But there was also this like underlying tenderness because they both had these feelings for each other that they didn't feel they could express because they were both so worried that the other person was in love with somebody else, even though like obviously all the evidence pointed that they were in love with each other, you dummies. But there's so much tenderness there because they were like, you know, like not just having sex, they were like making love and using their bodies to express it. And it was lovely, I think.
Yeah, I really, really liked that part. I mean, I liked this whole book. They're like the things that I've said, like, oh, like, I don't really like that. They're minuscule compared to the grand total of all of the things I loved about this novel. So yeah, it was almost perfect.
Yeah. And when he was like, when they were having sex, and then he was like doing stuff to her, and she's like, are you sure this is okay? It might take a while. And he was basically like, great. I hope it does. I was like, he said it much more explicitly, but pretty sure my mom's gonna listen to this, so sorry, Mom. But I was like, wow. This is like Outlander, but you know.
I know my mom is not going to listen to this, so I'm just like, when he said, because there was a few moments where he asked a question and it would be like, can I? And then it'd be like, ... And I was like, but like when he's like, can I come inside you? And I was like, yes, you can.
God, we sound like horny teenagers recording this podcast.
Basically. So I damn near lost my mind. Up in here, basically. It was like...
And then the next chapter, in the morning, it was still so cute and, like, steamy.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten there in my reread, so can't speak to it.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
It's not fresh in my mind.
Was it the morning, or she had just, like, napped for a little while?
Oh, true. Who does that? I can't nap
I mean,
ever.
when you're extremely satisfied. So I did want to read just a cute little quote to finish us off. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, no.
Okay, then.
All right. So I did just want to read a cute little quote to end the episode. So this is right at the beginning when Olive just grabs Adam and kisses him, and then she was enjoying the kiss and then pulls back and realizes who it is, and she's like, uh-oh, I messed up. So Adam says, Did you just kiss me? He sounded puzzled and maybe a little out of breath. His lips were full and plump and, God, kissed. There was simply no way Olive could get away with denying what she had just done. But still, it was worth a try. Nope. Surprisingly, it seemed to work. Ah, okay then. Carlson nodded and turned around, looking vaguely disoriented. He took a couple of steps down the hallway, reached the water fountain, maybe where he'd headed in the first place. Olive was starting to believe that she might actually be off the hook when he halted and turned back with a skeptical expression. Are you sure? I just think that was such a cute interaction and really helps you get into Olive's mind, where she's just like, she lives in her head so much. She's like, has this great imagination. She's making up all these situations all the time. And she was like, you know what? Here's a way I can get out of this. Just say, no. No, I did not do that, sir.
And I just love how he goes along with this stuff. Like, he's like all in it for the bit.
Yeah.
He's just like, really?
He's like, this is my opportunity. I've been waiting for 2+ years for you to even talk to me or look at me because you were blind when we first met.
But also, he could have totally approached her, but maybe he thought, oh, well, I'm like her...
A teacher.
Yeah. So maybe he was like, I don't know about that. But I'm just like, dude.
It's only okay if the student comes on to me. I don't know what the rules are about that in academia, but it sounds legit.
Yeah, he did. Well, he did say at some point in the book that it was okay, and he did talk to the ethics board, and they were like, oh, yeah, it's all good. You just can't be on her stuff. And I'm like, well, On her stuff. I mean, her schoolwork. So
Because he's definitely on her stuff.
Oh my god. I don't know if this is the note we want to end on. Ooh, this sexy power dynamic that's like maybe not okay.
it is okay. They do check it out. I want
I
to
know.
say.
They do check it out, but it always still feels a little bit like,
Well, I will say, all silliness aside and all steaminess aside, I really did enjoy this book, and I'm so
Me
excited
too.
for her next book, Love on the Brain, I think is what it's called. There's not a lot of info right now. There is an excerpt of that book at the end of The Love Hypothesis, but I didn't read it because I don't really like reading excerpts. I want to read it all at once so I don't like get a hangover.
Yeah, I didn't read it either.
Yeah.
I'm
No, me either.
very excited for when I forget about what this book was about so I can read it again
Never.
the first time all over again.
I love that. All right, with that, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the BYOB podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more from us, you can head over to our social media accounts to keep up to date on all things BYOB. We've got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got TikTok, Twitter, the works. See you next time, and until then, keep on drinking in great stories. Cheers!